Have you ever had someone just completely butcher your name? You say it, and they say something back that isn't even close? Yeah, we've all been there. It's frustrating, a little awkward. Well, today we're going to dive into this massively ambitious idea that wants to solve that exact problem for everyone on the planet. It's called the Pronounce All Names Project. And it's a really fascinating look at how technology could help build a little more global respect, one name at a time.
But let's just stop and think about that for a second. What's in a name, really? I mean, your name is your identity. It's one of the first things you ever learn to write. It's the sound your brain is wired to respond to. So what does it mean, and how does it actually feel when that core part of who you are is constantly said wrong?
And this really gets to the heart of the issue. According to Aydın Tiryaki, the person who proposed this whole project, it goes way beyond just a simple mistake. As he puts it, it's a fundamental issue of respect. You see, getting a name right isn't just about being correct. It's about acknowledging the actual person.
I mean, we see this constantly, right? You're watching a game, you hear a player's name said one way. Then you tune into a different broadcast the next week, and it sounds completely different. It's confusing for us, sure, but as Tiryaki points out, just imagine how disrespectful that must feel to the player whose name is being fumbled on a global stage.
But here's the thing. This isn't just about sports commentators struggling with a new striker's name during the World Cup. Not at all. This problem is literally everywhere, and it affects people in pretty much every field you can possibly imagine. And the scale of this is it's huge. Think about it. It impacts scientists when their groundbreaking work is being discussed. It happens to writers and artists whose names become part of our culture, to politicians on the world stage. Heck, even historical figures aren't safe from this. And of course, in the world we live in now, which is more connected than ever, it affects everyday people. People just like you and me.
Okay, so the problem is enormous, and it's universal. But the solution that's been proposed, it's actually kind of simple. But at the same time, it's incredibly audacious. So let's get into the details of what this Pronounce All Names in the World project actually is.
Okay, so here's the core idea. What if we created one single central database? A definitive source of truth for how to pronounce every name, recorded authentically by the person themselves. Something that could be accessed by media companies, AI assistants, and really anyone who needs it. No more guessing, just the right way every time.
Now that sounds great in theory, but your next question is probably, how in the world would you actually build something that massive? Well, the proposal is smart about this. It suggests starting with a really clear, manageable model. Let's take a look at how it could all kick off using the world of international football.
So check this out. The process is brilliantly simple, and it's designed with privacy in mind right from the start. First, a player just records their name on an app. Simple enough. Second, an AI takes that recording and creates a synthetic digital version of the correct pronunciation. And third, and this is the key part, the player approves the AI version and can then choose to have their original voice recording totally deleted. Gone forever. So the database holds the correct sound, not your personal voice. That AI synthesis part is the real game changer here. It's the tech that makes a secure global database like this even possible. And get this, the project's ambition doesn't just stop with people. Imagine a world where news anchors pronounce foreign cities and landmarks the way the locals do, or where companies can make sure their brand name is said correctly in every single market. This is about preserving the authentic identity of places, brands, and institutions too, the whole shebang.
All right, so we've got the what and the how, but that leaves the really big questions, right? The who and the when. Let's move on to the global roadmap and see how something this huge could actually be rolled out and made real.
And this is the big one, isn't it? A project of this magnitude sounds incredibly expensive. I mean, it has to be. So who's going to foot the bill? Where does the money come from? The proposal has a very clear answer to that. The companies that stand to benefit the most, we're talking giant AI and media corporations that need this data to be accurate, they would be the ones to fund it. And it's positioned not just as a business expense, but as a kind of global cultural responsibility. It's in their interest, and it's the right thing to do. And it wouldn't be just one organization trying to do everything. That would be impossible. The plan calls for a coalition, a kind of dream team of the world's leading organizations. You'd have FIFA and the IOC for sports, IMDb for film and TV, the Pen Club for writers, and even the UN stepping in for place names. Each one would lead the charge in their own field, which makes this massive task suddenly seem a lot more manageable. And here's where it gets really exciting. This isn't just some abstract idea. there's a proposed timeline. The whole thing could kick off with a test run at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. If that goes well, it could expand to all the athletes at the 2028 Olympics. And from there, it could just keep growing to cover every other field. This makes it feel less like a dream and more like a concrete, achievable plan.
So we've walked through the problem, the solution, and the plan to make it happen. But let's just take a step back and talk about the bigger picture here. Beyond the tech and the logistics, why does all of this really matter?
Because at the end of the day, this isn't just a technical project to fix a minor annoyance. It's a humanistic one. The real goal is to build a foundation of respect, to honor individual and cultural identity. The thinking is, if we can all commit to getting this one simple truth, a person's name, right, then maybe it strengthens our ability to get other bigger truths right too.
So, I'll just leave you with this thought to chew on. In a world that's struggling so much with misinformation and division, what if the path to a more truthful, more respectful future begins with honoring the simplest truth of all, the correct way to say someone's name?
I think we've all been there. That universal stutter. You're watching the news or trying to introduce someone, and you just freeze. You realize you have absolutely no idea how to pronounce that name. And, you just know if you get it wrong, you're going to sound awkward.
Or even ignorant, right? It's this tiny little moment of friction.
But it happens thousands of times a day.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Yeah.
Well, today we are diving deep into a really ambitious AI-driven proposal to solve this massive global communication problem for good.
The big one.
Our source material is a comprehensive international project proposal from Aydın Tiryaki, and the title is, it's just so clear. Pronounce all names in the world correctly.
You can't get more direct than that. It leaves zero room for ambiguity. And that directness, I think, really defines the whole project. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the Pronounce All Names in the World project. It aims to make sure that every proper noun, we're talking people, places, institutions, is pronounced accurately, authentically, the way it's said in its country of origin.
So we're going to walk you through the cultural need for this, but also the technical model, which is surprisingly elegant, and the global infrastructure that Tiryaki suggests can actually pull this off using today's AI.
It's all very feasible now.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's start with the core problem. Why is this such a big deal now? We have search engines, phonetic guides.
Right, you'd think we'd have solved it.
But the proposal argues that consistent pronunciation is just critical for anyone recognized internationally, especially with media and AI platforms moving so fast.
And the inconsistency is it's everywhere. What's fascinating is how Tiryaki grounds the whole problem in a place we can all see it. International sports.
Football.
Exactly, football. So imagine you're watching a match, and there's a player from, say, Croatia. Commentator A, an English speaker, gives it a shot with English phonetics.
Sure.
The next week, commentator B is French, so they apply French rules to that same name. Then commentator C just sort of guesses based on what they think they heard last time.
So you get 3 different versions of the same person's name in 3 weeks.
And the source material is adamant on this point. Relying on just written phonetic signs, it's completely insufficient.
Why is that?
Because phonetic transcriptions are often language-specific. They just can't capture the subtle tones, the vowel sounds, the stress, all the things that make a pronunciation correct in its original language. The system just breaks down.
So it's not just a technical thing. There's a deeper consequence here.
A huge one. The proposal doesn't mince words at all. It says mispronouncing a person's name is a fundamental sign of disrespect. Yeah, and this isn't just about athletes who are maybe used to the global media circus. This applies to scientists, to writers, to politicians. When you say their name correctly, you're acknowledging their identity.
And when you don't, you're kind of dismissing it subtly.
Exactly. It makes the stakes much, much higher. The audience is confused, the person feels disrespected, and the AIs we're building are just perpetuating these errors. It's like an accidental, systemic form of cultural erasure.
Okay, so if the problem is that big and systemic, the solution has to be technical and standardized.
Right, and that's what the model is designed to do.
The proposal suggests, starting with FIFA, which makes sense, use it as the pilot program for international sports organizations.
It's the most visible arena.
So, this application model, how does it work? It would let everyone, players, managers, even referees, personally record their names in their own voices.
Which is key, the authentic source.
And they can add nicknames or abbreviations, too. These recordings then get uploaded to a central, secure FIFA database.
And that's where the modern IT comes in. Broadcasters, AI translation tools, your voice assistant at home. They wouldn't have to guess anymore.
They just pull the data.
Instantly. They get the match schedule, and with it, they get the authenticated vocal and phonetic data directly from the source. No more guesswork.
But the real innovation here, I think, is how the AI handles that data. Because you run into privacy issues, right? Personal data.
100%. The system does not necessarily store the user's original voice recording long-term. That's a really important distinction. That raw audio file is complex biometric data.
Right. If I record my name on my phone in a cafe, the audio quality is bad, and it's also, my unique voice print.
Precisely. So instead, the AI uses that original recording to immediately create a new one, an artificial, synthetic, digital recording of the correct pronunciation.
So it cleans it up.
It cleans it up and standardizes it. The volume, the tone, the quality, it's all perfect for machine use. It has the phonetic truth of your name, but it's no longer your raw biometric signature.
So the user provides the truth, and the AI creates a clean, searchable copy. What happens then?
The user reviews and approves the new digital voice. They certify, yes, this is accurate, and then comes the crucial ethical step.
Okay.
The system asks them, do you want your original recording deleted? If they say yes, which most people would, the database immediately wipes the raw file. It only keeps the written name and that approved synthetic digital record.
That's brilliant. It standardizes the data while completely sidestepping the issue of storing private voice information.
And that's what makes the whole thing scalable.
Because now we're not just talking about football players. This model self-recording, AI synthesis, standardization can be used everywhere, a global database of correct name pronunciations.
And the proposal really maps this expansion out. Think about the art world. National and international art organizations would create similar apps.
But what about deceased artists? They can't record themselves.
Right. So for them, the project says an articulate, expert speaker from that country, like a theater actor or a national broadcaster, would record the name for the archive.
What about really old historical names? From the 16th century or something. Pronunciations change over time.
That's a great point. And that's why they'd partner with groups like the International Committee of Historical Sciences. Their job is to work with local historians and linguists to establish the most historically accepted modern pronunciation.
So the goal isn't to perfectly recreate a 15th century dialect.
Which is often impossible. No, the goal is to create a single, universally accepted, modern standard that's rooted in the original language.
That makes sense. And I can see how this would be critical in politics.
Oh, absolutely critical. Parliaments, ministries, political parties, they register their members' names. This would mean global media, from the UN press corps down to local journalists. Get it right from day one.
And for science and tech, making sure brilliant minds get the recognition they deserve without their name being a barrier.
And it goes even beyond people. The project insists on including all proper nouns. Tiryaki makes a really strong case for place names.
Countries, cities, mountains, rivers.
All of it, recorded accurately, with their original local pronunciation.
And this isn't just about getting directions right, is it? It feels like there's a geopolitical angle here.
There is, a profound one. By standardizing the original pronunciation, countries can push back against versions that might be, misunderstood or even sound negative in other languages.
It's like controlling the narrative of your own identity.
Exactly. It gives them the authoritative vocalization that respects the origin, and even brands will get involved. The proposal says that while major brands have marketing budgets for this, smaller companies would be eager to contribute the correct pronunciations of their products to the database. Everyone benefits.
Okay, so the model is sound. The ethics seem to be handled. The expansion plan is there. But this is a massive global project. What about the logistics? The cost?
Tiryaki argues it's highly feasible today. The internet, the current AI infrastructure, the technology isn't the bottleneck anymore.
The data retrieval is instant.
Right. The immediate application for a broadcaster is getting that data just before going live. The real question, as always, is the money. The software and the central database are the big costs.
So who foots the bill? Is cultural responsibility really enough to get trillion-dollar companies to open their wallets?
The proposal has a very direct answer for that. Since AI companies, media organizations, search engines, since they will be the primary beneficiaries of this clean, accurate data,
You should pay for it.
they should cover the costs. And the argument isn't just about charity, it's framed as a shared utility. It would cost a company like Google or Meta way more to try and build this database themselves than it would to share the cost of one single validated global source.
So it's an investment in the accuracy of the data that powers their whole business model.
Exactly. It becomes the fulfillment of a global cultural responsibility that also happens to directly benefit their bottom line.
That's a much stronger argument. And the timeline they propose is pretty aggressive. It shows they believe this can be done now.
Very aggressive. They've detailed specific launch partnerships. The initial test launch is proposed for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
A huge, visible stage.
The perfect proving ground. Then, right after that, the International Olympic Committee would create a database for the 2028 Olympics, expanding beyond football to every Olympic sport.
And then it just keeps rolling out from there.
Rapidly. The United Nations would handle global place names and key political figures. The International PE Club would archive writers' names, starting with the most famous.
And for entertainment, the proposal points to IMDb to compile names for the film and TV world, so that original problem of not knowing how to say a celebrity's name gets solved.
And music copyright organizations for everyone in the music industry. It's a coordinated sector-by-sector rollout designed to capture pretty much all of global nomenclature within a decade.
Wow. When you step back and look at it, the scope is it's breathtaking.
Yeah.
This is a huge attempt to use technology and cooperation to solve what seems like a minor issue, but one that carries so much cultural weight.
It does. It transforms this scattered, unreliable practice into a definitive, authenticated standard. Respect and accuracy codified.
Absolutely. It takes this tiny point of friction and just imbues it with real meaning. And Tiryaki leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. He suggests that as this system grows, the truth about at least one issue will increase, paving the way for other truths.
It's a powerful idea.
It really is. So the question we want to leave you with is this.
Yeah.
If we can use AI and global cooperation to establish the simple, undeniable truth of how a name should be said, what's next? What other areas of global knowledge, maybe historical events, scientific definitions, cultural terms, could benefit from a similar truth-focused project that archives and shares accurate, authoritative data for all of humanity?
Something to think about.
Something to mull over the next time you hear a news anchor completely butcher a foreign minister's name.